running a good outbound campaign in 2025 that is actually generating leads for your product or service, or getting investors interested in investing in your company can all be tied back to one extremely simple idea, and it is what I am calling logical inferences. Now, what does this actually mean? Before I get into that, if you're new here, if you have no idea who I am, my name is Ryan Bryden. I help run two companies at Breakout Creatives and at Apex Ascension. We help B2B companies in tech and in healthcare with go-to-market, growing sales pipelines, as well as connecting with investors to fundraise. If that's of interest to you, you can get in touch with us there. But back to the actual video. What are logical inferences? How can you use them? Creating logical inferences, and all that this idea actually is observing a set of data, so just information about a company that you can find online, creating an inference based off of that, so an educated guess or some kind of hypothesis because of that data, and just connecting that in with your product or service that your company sells or does or whatever it is. Basically, every single thing that you see with, fancy workflows and Clay, I love Clay. That's the main function of it, is to find and strengthen more logical inferences. I'm going to get into an example here of what does it actually mean in extreme tangibility. So let's say, right, that you sell a team productivity tool, right? Let's say you sell some SaaS platform or product where it helps teams with their productivity, or it's think Slack or something like that, right? Let's say that we are Slack. We find out that a company, they just hired a bunch of new employees, right? Okay. So that is a data point that you can find out. You can see that on LinkedIn. There's a bunch of tools and apps where you can find out that information. What can we take from that though, right? Okay, this company, they just hired 5 new employees. They probably need a better way to keep people organized, or at the very least, there's a better chance that a team like that is going to need our tool compared to somebody that hasn't made a hire in the last 12 months, right? That is the logical inference that we are taking from that set of information, right? And then in the message that we would then get in touch with these people with, this isn't the exact copy, but it would be something along the lines of hey, John, I saw you guys just hired 5 new people over the last 2 months. Curious what you guys have in place for managing those new employees, whatever it is. You basically bring up what the inference is, and how that's now relevant and important for their company. And because you found out this information that they just hired, you can make the logical idea that, well, because these people are going to have new employees in their company, there's a better chance of them having this problem that we help than somebody that hasn't hired in the last year or 2 years, right? On the venture side of things, you can do the exact same thing when, we're kind of lagging a bit here. Sorry, Miro's kind of brutal sometimes for that. But when you're trying to find, whether it's VC, family office, whatever it is that is a right fit for your company, you can do the exact same thing, right? Let's say we go into PitchBook and we find that, this fund has invested in other mental health companies, right? Let's say that's the kind of service, or that's the kind of company that we are. We can make that logical inference that, hey, they're probably interested in this kind of space. They probably have a focus on this right now. So if we were that kind of company, why would we get in touch with other random, VCs or family offices if we know that these guys have experience in that space? The message could look something like this. Hey, John, notice that you guys recently invested in company. We're in that space as well, but we have more of a focus on blank, wondering if you want to, right? And that's how you build the message, by finding out logical inferences from data. That's all that you are doing. And the truth is, from somebody that manages and runs a lot of campaigns like I do, this is all that good outbound is. That's literally it. When you see people and they're posting about Clay results or things that they built and these workflows and a lot of the function of these AI tools that you see, 99% of the time, all that it's doing is just finding better, unique, and stronger logical inferences about a person or about a company. That is all that it's doing, which is totally fine. The value in finding, better connections that you can then make that ties to your product or service, it's huge. And there's full on companies that are built strictly on this idea. And so, of course, the more that you can find out about a person, about an investor, about a company, the better you can tie that data back into your offer and then make your product or service the obvious sell, right? Like it's like going through a haystack and finding the needle of that one company that's feeling your problem that your solution solves right now. That's what building logical inferences like this does. So I just wanted to make a video on this because I think it's extremely important, and at its core function, if you just focused on that and building lists and writing copy around that idea for your specific product or service, you would have extremely good outbound. Like it would not be more complicated than that. So if that sounds interesting and you're like, Ryan, this sounds cool, I don't know how to do that, I want your help, I will have some links in the description for you to check out. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I hope that was helpful, and enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.